Just kidding. Sergeant Slaughter's not here. We are. I'm Joe. With me is Mike and Tyler, and this is the episode that I think all three of us have personally been waiting on. We're talking GI Joes, guys. Before we do that, let's check in. How are you guys doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good.
Right on.
How about you, Tyler?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Staying busy, but good.
Good. Well, speaking of busy and good things, let's go into new acquisitions, fellas. That everybody's collective bank accounts side because Hasbro sent some pre-orders our way. So I think I will actually like to go ahead and start.
Yeah, you've been a busy little guy.
I've been a busy little boy. Well, Hasbro Pulse has been busy shipping me my things. First up is the G1 Retro Gears and all of his mini bot turned deluxe figure glory. It's really fun to transform. And I like the face sculpt of this one a lot more than the legacy one that came out. That was cartoon accurate. Normally I try to go cartoon accurate as much as I can, but for Gears, I absolutely made an exception, and it was absolutely the right call. So that's fun. But what about you guys? What did y'all get?
I also got the Gambit. Really cool. Of course, I'm going to leave them in the package because I'm not a savage. I got Bone Crusher.
Yeah.
Yeah. Looks pretty cool. This one I'm going to keep in the package for now until I get them all, and then Joseph is going to build Devastator for me. And then this guy, Scrapper.
Man, I saw him out in the wild a few weeks back, and I almost snatched him up.
Should have,
but I didn't.
You know, the day after you, because you had posted, Joe, when you saw those, the day after you posted that, I went to get him. And
see, that's why you grab him. That's why you check.
I thought that's on me. I thought you already had him on pre-order, so I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's okay. You didn't do anything wrong. I was going to go ahead and go grab him, and I actually didn't know if I had pre-order or not. So I was like, I better just to hedge my bets. I'm going to go ahead and grab it. And was not to be, but doesn't matter. I got him. We got him.
Decepticons and Cobras. If I'm like not on my cell phone staring at it pulse,
they go.
It's done.
That's crazy. It's crazy that it's those that really go.
Yeah.
So what about you? Are you still in house mode, or did you finally get some acquisitions to talk about?
No acquisitions. We are in full pack up, loading pods. Like we're full decommissioning this house mode. So have not picked up anything new. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens over the next few weeks. But probably for the next month or so, we'll be sticking with the packing. And when we're not packing, we're actually actively moving. And when we're not packing and moving, we'll be unpacking. So we got a little bit of work ahead of us.
Yeah.
I mean, we're eventually going to go on a birthday hunt, because I got to go on a birthday fig hunt. So, I mean, that could be your exception, Tyler.
It could be. Yeah. I mean,
it's like, I got to buy stuff. It's Mike's birthday in May. So
yeah.
Why not?
It just depends what the shops in Oklahoma City have for us. So,
yeah, I've there's definitely things on the list I'm still hunting for, and that doesn't change just because I'm moving. But what it will impact is like the ancillary stuff that, like, under normal circumstances, I might jump on this, but right now I'm not going to make that move because
you're not going to actively get stuff delivered from eBay and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You're not going to come home with a disassembled USS flag.
That's unlikely in the immediate future. Yes. What's interesting is we're about to go out. Is I've got some stuff stored. And we haven't talked about this, but it's relevant for this episode. I have a very large collection of the 12-inch GI Joes.
Oh wow!
New in box, Mike. So in box stuff, because they were collectible back when I started getting them, and I never opened them. So I've got like 3 of the U-Haul extra large boxes full of those figures, new in box. And I do think I'm just going to throw them in the back of the truck and drive play base 10 and see what he will give me for them. Just
Right on.
I would say might want to wait till JoeCon, see if you can do some wheeling dealing there. Because that
Well-
might be more of a targeted audience, right?
I mean, yeah, but how do we shop that around? I mean, that's 3 giant boxes full of figs.
Yeah,
I don't know.
like unless he's trying to get a booth or something there, which I don't think that's
No,
I don't think that's
I'm not
enough
gonna
for
do that.
us.
No, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to be. Number one, I don't want to be into a booth. Number two, I don't think we're going to be there Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I think we'll probably be there for one day.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just gonna go
and,
Saturday.
Besides, if I'm doing a booth, I'd have a hard time breaking away to go to Dallas Vintage, and I've been watching their videos. Shout out to Dallas Vintage. I've been
Yeah.
watching their stuff be posted on Facebook, and I'm like, holy moly!
With
like,
your
they're
last
bringing in-
visit, they should be shout outing you.
they should be. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
They should be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was
So-
just honored to be a part of that.
I
Felt like-
appreciate that.
I felt like Burt Reynolds, but instead of hauling cases of Coors, I was hauling a USS Flag.
Yeah, yeah.
So that
That's
was
funny.
fun.
They wouldn't even know who I was. I mean, they might recognize my name, but they wouldn't know. They wouldn't know me
Yeah.
by seeing me. But they would recognize you possibly from probably the last guy to pick up a aircraft carrier from there and
Yeah.
leave.
Yeah, I've been enjoying a lot of their YouTube channel. They've been posting a lot of fun vids. So
Yeah.
if you haven't had the opportunity, go check them out. Dallas Vintage Toys on YouTube, and they're also very active on Facebook. But with all that said, guys, we've been waiting how many episodes? 8 episodes for me to say, let's talk about everybody's favorite real American heroes, the G.I. Joes. Starting off, first favorite memories. What's your first exposure to this storied franchise and the very first ever action figure? Tyler, Mr. Vehicle Guy.
Yeah, yeah. This is obviously special episode for me, special topic for me. There's a lot of things in the realm of figures and action figures and things that I love and toys, but G.I. Joe is first in my heart. I mean, no question, and it's first by a lot. So, I've talked about this briefly before. My first exposure to G.I. Joe was when my papa gave me a Sky Striker. I didn't know G.I. Joe existed. I didn't know what it was, but I opened up this Sky Striker, and I learned in a hurry that I loved it. I mean, it was amazing. What a great introduction to G.I. Joe, a freaking Sky Striker. I mean, I don't know that there's a better introduction that you could find. I mean, it's just incredible. So yeah, I got that and loved it. The second vehicle I got was a Snowcat, and good Lord, I both of those, I played with them until they went to pieces. I mean, just, I was young. I was very young when I got those, and just played with them until they went to pieces, and just remember, nonstop. That was basically all I wanted to play with was the G.I. Joe stuff. And, eventually my parents got divorced, and, I think I've talked about this, and, that's just tough on kids. At the time, you don't really realize it, but G.I. Joe, looking back, I can see that G.I. Joe and playing with G.I. Joe was kind of my escape from all of that insanity that was going on in my family life. And so I could just immerse myself in these adventures that I was having with my toys and my G.I. Joes, and everything in that world was going to end up just fine, regardless of what happened outside of that. So, it's interesting to be able to look back on that time in my life and recognize that franchise played a significant role in my we'll call mental health. During a very traumatic time in my childhood. So those are very fond memories for me. I don't know what else to say. I mean, the toys, the vehicles, obviously were my number one. I'm the vehicle guy. That's what I love. Figures were there to go inside vehicles because you had to have somebody driving. I mean, that's what they were. Somebody has to be driving. Yeah, I just, I played with them. They were my go-to. Sure, I had some Transformers. Sure, I had Legos. Sure, I had other toys that I played with. But GI Joe was, I mean, if you're looking at time, it's probably 90% of my play time as a child was GI Joe, and the rest was spread out between Hot Wheels, Legos, Transformers, that kind of stuff. So wish I still had the original Sky Striker. I do still have the Snowcat, although it's in pieces. And shout out to Pawpaw up in heaven who got that for me and got me started on something that was really important to me growing up.
For me, G.I. Joe the movie, the cartoons. I remember the movie more just because I really like Law and Order, but I also like the cartoon. I remember being outside and running around with my dog. I talked about this on an earlier episode, and just being outside, pretending I was Law and Order with my dog. We'd get on just crazy, zany adventures. And then when it was time to come in, I'd play with the figure. And shout out to this figure. It probably got tossed or something, but I like to just think that it disintegrated from just germs because I was a small child. Like I said, I had played outside and then I would go back inside. And so my hands would probably be all dirty and muddy. And this thing probably just became one with the force and just went into the ether. I wish it nothing but the best, man. It deserved all the rest it can get. Because I don't know what happened, but I know I put it through its paces. And according to how that fast lane looks, and I played with that Law and Order way more than I did that fast lane. And man, that fast lane is worn. So Godspeed to that Law and Order. May you rest well, my friend. Rest well, because you earned it. It made me wonder, like, you guys have kids, so if you see them play with their hands that are just covered in dirt and just nastiness, do you ever wash the toy, or do you think that's like how they lose their superpower?
Depending on the toy, I might just toss it.
No!
Listen, it's one of those things where you either die a hero or you live long enough to become the villain. And I can't tell you, or I wish I could bottle the rush you get when you throw away one of your child's like broken, discarded like toys that has like pieces missing that you didn't even really want them to get in the first place, but you got outvoted between like wife and, and grandma. So it's but sometimes I will wash the toy depending on, or like mostly it's just triage and treating broken stuff. So
my wife is very much in the throw it away camp. I am not.
Oh, wow.
I'm not wired that way. I want to, if it's broken, I try to fix it. If it's dirty, I'll try to clean it. The way that I operate, I'll end up making a hobby out of cleaning up and restoring whatever it is. Because I just want to prove that I can do it. And so I'm hard pressed to get rid of something like that. I would want to clean it, but if Brandy got to it before I did, trash.
So what you're saying is, don't ever show you a really dirty, gross-looking Sky Striker.
I have watched many videos, and I actually have most of the equipment I need to clean up that yellowed plastic. Right. So
yeah, he's got the equipment, and he also has space on the flight deck of a flag to fill out.
Yeah.
So
don't tempt him. Maybe one of these days I get a little setup going where I clean those things. I mean, I did a restoration on a clone gunship that came out really well.
Nice.
I was very happy with that. It was some kid had it and did what kids did. They took permanent markers and marked it up everywhere, and they were drawing some crazy stuff, and they ended up just coloring all over it. And I managed to get that all cleaned off. And I bought it for peanuts because nobody wanted it because it was all marked up, and then I cleaned it up and ended up selling it for going rate for clone gunships, which is pretty dadgum high right now. So
that would do it.
Yeah. So I ended up getting into that kind of stuff. So it takes me down a rabbit hole. That's my problem.
Yeah. Also, speaking of germs, the toy aisles back then. Like when you would walk into those Targets and Walmarts and those box stores and even Toys R Us, KB Toys, like when you walk down those, like you got a shot of adrenaline. And I remember just walking down that toy aisle and just seeing the Joes and seeing the vehicles, and you couldn't wait to just file through, and see your favorite Joe, or look for something that you've been wanting for a while, and getting those germs from those other kids. But man, he didn't care. He wanted to find that thing. And man, I remember that, just that feeling you get, like you get the parking lot and then it seems like it gets worse and worse until you get there. You get that knot in your stomach, man, I remember that. What about you,
Yeah.
Joe?
So GI Joe, it's funny because GI Joe was never really one of my, like, I remember being kind of like on in the periphery every so often, but I don't remember ever just like sitting down and watching the cartoon like I did with Transformers.
I think
Oh
you were more
man,
into the movie like me, where you could just
Yeah.
quote that movie like you could Transformers the movie.
Yeah, absolutely. But I just remember that version 2 rock and roll always being in my hand, and then also Topside.
Yeah.
Uh So, and I'm pretty sure I posted a picture from some photo shoot from a Sears or J.C. Penney
Yeah.
with Topside. Uh, that was a lot of fun. That picture hung up in our grandma's house until she passed away. And then I really kind of fell out of GI Joe until the 2000 A Real American Hero collection came out, because I think you were just joining the Navy, and you had started collecting, and then you came home on leave and got
Hmm.
me into collecting it, because there was I don't know if you remember, but there was a 2-pack of version 4 Dusty and
Yeah.
version 4 Law and Order that you got me, and those were like I played with those things. Like I had that, and then I remember having the Duke and Snake Eyes that came out in that same year, 2000, and that I had them in my backpack, and I took them into 6th grade because we were having inside recess. So I was at my desk playing with Duke and Snake Eyes, and I think I probably had some bad guys or something. And got like one of the other kids, he was a newer kid in school, and he kind of comes up and he looks at my Joes, and he kind of gives a nod, and he's like, Snake Eyes. And I look at him, and I hand him the Snake Eyes, like without saying anything. And anyway, uh we've been best friends ever since, and we've been the best men in each other's weddings. So shout out to
nice.
Randy. He will forever be the Snake Eyes to my Duke. So
Cool.
Speaking of the cartoon, I didn't mention this. But you guys both did, so thank you for calling that out. The GI Joe cartoon, probably, in fact, not probably, definitely my all-time, still today, favorite little section of cartoons is the Arise Serpentor Arise, the series of 4.
the five, oh, that was a 5-parter.
Or it's five
Yeah.
parts. Absolutely peak the going back, like seeing them going back to the tunes, and getting the DNA from Attila the Hun and Caesar and
Dracula.
Alexander, Vlad the Impaler, Vlad the Impaler, Hannibal, like Genghis Khan, like just that, to me, just wow, that was amazing. So
Yeah.
shout out to that series of episodes. The whole cartoon to me is great, but that series of episodes specifically is like all-time favorite
Yeah. It's
animation for
really
me.
good.
I feel like they could slap together a cut of the Mass Device and Arise Serpentor Arise and release it to theaters. And I know I would probably go see it
100%.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Multiple times, I'd probably go see it. Yeah,
Because a
100%.
lot of my favorite Joes are actually my favorites because of the cartoon.
Yep.
And I didn't start reading or collecting the G.I. Joe comic, the Larry Hama run until much later.
Yeah.
Well,
So
yeah, I mean, obviously we talked about that too. Like for me, that's been a year ago is when I finally started getting in that.
Yeah, and
So
you've
I mean, yeah, it
injected
was,
those since then.
yeah, it was the toys and the cartoons for me, 100%.
Well, let's get into it. Let's get into some. I mean, we're here. We're talking like this is a G.I. Joe episode. Let's talk our favorite Joes. Mike, how about you start us off?
Have a 1A and a 1B. But I kept it to 5. I just get uncomfortable when I have to choose my favorite. I know I've mentioned and talked about Law and Order, but also I'm a big Spirit fan, and my favorite T-shirt has Spirit on it. I had to forcibly wash it today because my dog got her muddy paws on it. So
Classic.
she probably was just judging me and telling me I need to wash it. So Law and Order, Spirit, 1A, 1B. Jinx is number 2 because I really like her in the movie. She was funny, witty, and just the idea of a blind martial artist is crazy. And then on top of that, she fights better with no sight. So in the comics they explore that concept of the blind master and all that stuff. So I think that's really interesting. I'd like to see that kind of talked about more. Next up is number 3 is Lowlight. He was one of those characters that, man, I read his file card and I was like, man, this is really cool. Just the idea that when he was younger, he was scared of the dark, and through some aggressive, what is it called?
Negligent parenting,
Forced therapy.
immersion
therapy. Yeah. He learned to deal with it and learned to be really good at what he does and just managing that fear. And I think that's really cool. Then Alpine, like having been in the Navy, you appreciate people that do your paperwork and make sure you get paid on time. So I respect that. And then on top of that, like he can climb, and then there's an issue where there's a pacifist in this run and she gets shot, and she was giving the Joes a hard time the entire time. And she dies, and Alpine's like, I got her. And he went to bat for her, for her body, just so it could be taken with him and put to rest. And I really like that. I really like that issue. And just his skill set, man, of just climbing. I don't know about that, man. It's not like I can wake up and go climb a mountain. Like you mix all that in, and then like I really like the voice actor in the cartoon. He makes me, he's funny. He has kind of that like jazz thing going on, where it's not like full on jazz or full on beachcomber, where there's some blues style in that, but it's humorous. It's more lighter than you think a G.I. Joe voice would be. And he has friends, like you see Bazooka and Gung Ho and Alpine, Rock and Roll. They all hang out together, man. And that's like, man, you spend a lot of time with each other. When you're in, you see them more than your actual family. So it's nice in the cartoon that you saw Alpine and his friends cut up, and I thought that was pretty cool. So Alpine has been one with a bullet in my top 5.
Yeah. Who else you got?
I'm going to keep to my 5. I'm not going to mention Lady J.
Flint.
I fell out with Flint, man. I don't know, man. He's a struggle to be in my top 10 anymore.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well, Stalker.
Yeah. Stalker is in my top 10. So
yeah. All right, Tyler, what about you?
Yeah, all right. Number 1 for me, Beachhead. Hands down. That's my guy. We talked about this again in previous episodes. When I was playing with G.I. Joes growing up, I was Beachhead every time. Like that was me. Love the figure. Love the
His look is
character.
so cool.
Yeah, it's just awesome.
Yeah.
I think the thing that made me kind of come around on the beachhead train is that if you were to take a regular GI Joe, like a regularly designed GI Joe, like a Duke or something, and then take like the coolness of Snake Eyes and somehow blend them together, like it would probably
Yeah.
wind up looking like Beachhead.
Yep. That's
So
that's a good way to look at it. Yeah, a solid number one for me. Pretty easy. Pretty easy number one. Number two for me is going to be Spirit. Spirit and Freedom. I
Oh,
consider them
cool.
a package. Love Spirit. Great. Great character. Really just really like the story behind him. Love watching him in the cartoon. I like reading about him in the comics. Like just a great character and super cool. Of course, he's got a freaking bald eagle named Freedom. I mean, that's just peak America right there.
Yeah.
just rad, just
That's-
absolute rad.
That's awesome.
That's it. Yeah. Number three for me, Snake Eyes. I don't know that we need to espouse all the virtues of Snake Eyes here. There's probably not. I would be shocked if he wasn't in the top five for, over half of people who are fans of GI Joe. Like he's incredibly popular for good reasons. Snake Eyes. So,
Yeah.
four for me is a Law and Order. So Mike and I share a love for the Law and Order. I'm retired law enforcement, so obviously and I'm a big dog guy. So two big things going for Law and Order there. I liked him when I was a kid growing up. I had the V2 of Law and Order, which actually it's not Law and Order, it was just
Interesting.
Law.
Yeah.
I never had the V1, which is one of those holes in my collection that makes me sad. But but he was always one of my favorites growing up. So big time fan there. And then number five, interestingly enough, this spot's got some contention for me. It was Wild Bill. And then I read the G.I. Joe comic that is the Ace versus Wild Weasel.
Oh, nice.
And that catapulted Ace into my top five over Wild Bill. So
Yeah.
just cool, just a super cool pilot. Obviously, he flies a Sky Striker, which is about as cool as it gets. So Ace is my newer number five, about the last year now.
Do they make a Skyforce version of Ace?
No, they don't. The Skyforce, Sky Patrol. You're talking about Sky Patrol, right?
Yeah. Sky Patrol.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think the Sky Patrol, they were all new, weren't they?
They're all unique. Yeah, their roster
Yeah.
is unique. I don't think they have. Yeah, so yeah, airborne, airwave, altitude, drop zone,
Okay.
skydive, and static line. So those guys were all unique to Sky Patrol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So airborne, super cool character, by the way. Like I like Airborne the figure. I have Airborne the figure, the V1, super cool, like urban camo, like dark gray, light gray, helmet with red lenses, really blonde. Growing up, I was a blonde guy, so I was like, that's cool. If you go read his card, like his thing is he packs the parachutes for the Joes.
Oh, that's cool.
No
Again,
doubt,
one of
an
those-
important job.
I mean,
but
One of those necessary, absolutely.
yeah.
Here we go. Sky Patrol, Sky Striker, HasLab, classified series with Ace. I mean, let's get it. Come on.
I'd love to see it. I'd love to see the HasLab jump into Sky Patrol.
Hold on.
Yeah, for sure. I'd love it.
Are you sure that's Airborne? Because I thought Airborne was in. I thought he was part of the mainline. He was a mainline release from 1983.
So there are two Airbornes. There are two characters that share the name Airborne. There's a 1990 Sky Patrol Airborne,
Okay.
and then there's I think there is an RAH, Real American
Yeah.
Hero.
Yeah, because
Airborne
that's
as well.
That's the one I'm more familiar with, because there's an episode in the cartoon where he's featured prominently with Wild Bill, and Cobra has kidnapped his brother because his brother has like psychic powers.
Yep.
Or like telekinesis.
If you look him up, they have an entry that's like, this is one. There's a couple characters that are like, this name is shared by multiple characters that are
Yeah.
distinctly different characters. So there's two code name Airborns in GI Joe. The one that you just mentioned, Airborne Talltree, I think is his name.
Yeah.
And
That's a
then
cool
there's
name.
the Sky Patrol Airborne.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, good call out and good
Yeah.
clarification there. So
yeah. So I'm just gonna dive right in. In no particular order. So I'm gonna go ahead and say Beachhead because he's on my list and you'd already talked about him. And I really like Roadblock.
Mhm.
I actually have the first appearance, first comic book appearance of Roadblock and Duke. Roadblock was always so cool in the cartoon because he always kind of spoke in rhymes. He did kind of like the jazz like blaster thing. And he's just fun. Like anytime I see anything with Roadblock, I'm just like, okay, now GI Joe's happening. You know, it's hard to pinpoint. I wish I knew him in real life. He's just that cool. Dusty, the desert trooper, solely because the Traitor two-part the episodes that
That was
featured
really
him
good.
heavily, like that was just it was so well done and it was so cool. He did such a good job in it, and he just was a really cool. And also, a few of his figures actually comes with a desert coyote named Sandstorm.
Mhm.
And I'm a sucker for Joes that come with animals too. Uh,
Yep.
so and also like I said, he came in that 2-pack with Law and Order that got me back into GI Joe. So that one, Dusty holds a special place in my heart. Him and Rock and Roll. Rock and Roll might be one of my definite like. I mean, he's definitely top 5, but he might be 1A 1B
Man,
with.
I dig rock and roll. You guys know that. I used him in our Transformer GI Joe RPG.
Yeah,
He's the
I was
guy,
heavily
man.
invested. I was heavily invested in making sure that he was okay. Uh, but he's one of those characters that it doesn't make sense to me that he hasn't featured in any of the movies. It just makes too much sense to me. But
Let's be honest. There's a lot of things regarding the GI Joe movies,
Oh
the
man.
live action movies that don't make any sense.
Exactly. You're
You
not
could print
wrong.
money with this, and you have chosen not to, and I don't understand why not.
Yeah,
predominantly casting, like casting is the biggest head scratch to me.
I agree, but the Snake Eyes, the it was the writing, man. Like I hate to point out the writing, but they didn't make Snake Eyes likable at all. At
No,
all.
like, if they
I
would have
rooted
just
for
kept
Storm Shadow, and I'm not like the Cobra guy. Like,
no, I don't know why they felt like they needed to reinvent the wheel with Snake Eyes because Larry Hama did such an immaculate job
yeah,
crafting his backstory. It was already perfect. We didn't need to mess with it.
the writers I think got in their own way,
Yeah.
and that was unfortunate.
Speaking of characters who were shafted by the live action movies, my favorite GI Joe, and this is strictly because of the Sunbow cartoon and Michael Bell's just brilliant work, voice acting, bringing this character to life is Duke.
Oh man,
I mentioned the Dusty 2-part episode. Uh, Duke, he's in it for a little bit, but the times that he is in it, he absolutely shines through. And the cartoon did a really good job of making it feel like Duke was kind of everybody's older brother who just as long as they were doing their job and, you know, keeping their noses relatively clean, he would do what he could to keep the brass off of them and make sure that their leave got approved and just kind of, really kind of took care of everybody as,
yeah.
as a big brother should.
Something I learned, it's probably been a few years ago. I don't remember if we've discussed this or not. So if we have, I apologize, folks out there in the audience. But in G.I. Joe the movie, I'm going to drop a spoiler here. So if you haven't seen the animated, I'm talking about the animated movie, the good one here, not
Yeah.
the live action stuff. Duke gets hit by one of Serpentor's snake spears. He was supposed to die. Like the way that was
Yeah.
written originally, Duke dies. They decided to rewrite that where he survives because a short time before that, the Transformers movie came out, and the
Yep.
death of Optimus Prime was so traumatic to the audience that they felt like they needed to rewrite this and not kill Duke. Which
Well,
I,
the issue was Hasbro kept getting flooded with letters from parents saying like, "What were you guys thinking killing Optimus Prime? Like my son's locked himself in his room and he won't come out
yeah,
until Optimus Prime is alive." Like,
Say our older brother handled it like a champ. He was a trooper. At least he didn't show it to me, but he was a rock star. So, but
it tore me up. It tore me up. But I look back on that and I think, as much as I hate that, as sad as it made me, it added gravitas to that series, that movie. Like it added something. It took some guts to go do that, and I'm a
the
little sad.
most disappointing part of that was after the movie where they just kind of hamstrung Rodimus the entire time.
Yeah,
If they were going to do it and they actually went into a different direction that set him up to succeed or showed him more on a journey than just being kind of a whiner. You got to go somewhere.
they could have. Well, I don't know. We weren't there, but I suspect that they were doing that knowing that this is a temporary situation, and
Well, they
they had
were
already
probably
decided
trying
to bring
to
Prime back.
cycle out action figures too. That was
Well,
probably the
that too. I
original
mean,
thought.
yeah,
So,
that's a good point. They are trying to sell figures. That's
but who knows?
yeah.
but so those are our favorite Joes. Let's switch sides now, and let's slither on over to the Cobra side, and let's talk our five favorite, or our favorite Cobra characters. I'll tell you what, since I ended, I'll go ahead and start us off. So I'm gonna go with Firefly.
Nice.
I mean, he's basically like a Snake Eyes figure, but with urban camo. Like Cobra Saboteur looks really cool, and
Looks
honestly,
like Beachhead.
looks like Beachhead. And I'll tell you, the GI Joe Retaliation movie had a lot of flaws, but Ray Stevenson as Firefly was not one of them.
Yeah, that was good.
Like, that was a
good.
lot.
You're right.
He just was like every bit of scenery he was in, he chewed it up, and he was a lot of fun to watch. S I'm gonna go with Storm Shadow because I mean, he looks cool. Like, he looks cool. The Snake Eyes is inversion. And also, I really I know Tyler hates redemption arcs, but it makes a lot of sense the way that Larry crafted it and laid it out. So I
Looking
can,
at
like,
you,
I actually,
Zartan.
like you see it happening, and at the end of the day, you're kind of rooting for him because Storm Shadow is so cool that you're like, why don't you just come over to the Joes? Just come hang out, be a buddy. Especially with the backstory before the GI Joe team, it was Stalker, who would later become Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes, doing long range recon patrols together before they were even asked to join GI Joe. So them establishing that uh, early with the Snake, I think it was the Snake Eyes origin issue, was really cool to see. Scrap Iron is one, just because I don't
Ooh.
like I'm not a big, like, loud, heavy Cobra Cobra fan. Like, I mean, I like Cobra Commander enough. I like Destro. Everybody likes Baroness. The Crimson Twins, like, they're fun. Like, but I like the characters who are just kind of like in the periphery of Cobra, but not, and like they have a name, but they're not, like, they don't have a lot of media where their characters are kind of developed. So, but I like Scrap Iron as kind of the anti armor guy. His figure looks really cool. He's got a lot of like like remote controlled rocket drones to take out armor, and he's just really cool. And also, what?
So I was gonna say different segment, but the classified version, his classified figure is amazing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, and we'll definitely be talking about that for sure. Uh, so speaking of obscure Cobra characters, as far as I know, this character has only appeared in 2 episodes of the cartoon. And I don't even know if he's appeared in A Real American Hero, like in the comic books, but he has a figure for the 25th anniversary line of figures. So I'm throwing him in. Lieutenant Claymore. Lieutenant Claymore from the Dusty two-parter. Uh, the the episodes are called Trader Part 1 and Trader Part 2. Uh, so it's perceived that Dusty is betraying GI Joe, and Cobra Commander sends him an offer to come join Cobra. And whenever he shows up, there's this one Cobra. I don't know if he's an officer or if he's just a regular grunt, but he's just like, hey, like this guy's a Joe, we can't trust him. And so naturally, Cobra being uh, the skillful leader that he is, he's like, oh, well, I'm just going to put you guys in a pit with flesh eating piranhas and weapons, and I'm going to let you sort out your differences with rocket nunchucks. Um, but yeah, so Lieutenant Claymore, he's a cool bad guy. And then
That's
Major,
deep cut.
yeah, less of a deep cut though. And I honestly didn't even have him on my list until the classified figure. And the classified figure made me a believer is Major Blood. Uh, I might show it off later, but I was able to secure a Major Blood action figure when Target was doing their Cobra Island exclusives, and it was a pain. They were going for on the like on the secondary market, they were going for like minimum 50, and it was just ridiculous. But
But
you,
they got a curveball because they got a restock like overnight. It was just crazy.
yeah,
And I remember it just tanked it, and you could get them everywhere.
yeah, but it was one of those figures that as soon as I got it, like I didn't even take it out of the package yet, and I was like, oh, I get it now. Why people are willing to spend $50 on the secondary market just to get this because he looks so good.
Yeah, it was a
But
good figure.
what about y'all?
Go ahead, Tyler.
Favorite Cobra is tricky question for me. Got a lot that I like. Of course, I got a lot of Joes I like too. I mean, I love this franchise. Number one, Alley Viper.
Mm.
The
I freaking love the Alley Viper.
notorious Alley Viper.
Obnoxious camo, sweet, face shield that slides down, great shield, just super cool looking. That was the peak cool figure for me growing up. I loved
Also, the
Alley
one that
Viper.
hooked you into classified series.
That is the
You were
Alley
resisting.
Viper
You were
figure.
resisting so well, and then you saw the.
I was out.
Viper.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna do it. I was not gonna do it. I can't remember was it you, Mike? I think it was you. I think it was you that popped up that classified Alley Viper and was like, "Hey, look at this!" And I thought, "Oh no!" As soon as I saw it, I was like, "I'm screwed. I'm screwed." And they did it right in classified. I can't deny it. They did it right. It's beautiful.
I'm partial to those as well. I got 3 of the classified Alley
Yeah,
Vipers.
they're just gorgeous, great figures, cool characters, just a neat idea. And I realize that the Alley Viper is not necessarily one person; it's a group
It's a
of
true builder.
vipers that right exactly.
Yeah.
But that's for me number one. Number two is Storm Shadow. Again, it's kind of like Snake Eyes. I think that's going to be on most lists for people that are listing tops. I almost didn't put him on there because it was going to be like, duh, it's obviously, but so he's number two for me. We don't need to go Evo. We've already talked about why. I don't like redemption arcs. You're not wrong. I get so tired of that crap.
We have
but
you on the
Storm
record
Shadow,
multiple
yeah,
times.
yeah. Storm Shadow I do like, and this is G.I. Joe is one of those franchises where the proverbial good guys are definitely my side, right? Like I'm Empire in Star Wars, but I'm definitely G.I. Joe in G.I. Joe. So I was actually okay with Storm Shadow coming over because he was a super cool character, and I'm glad that he came over. Number three for me is Serpentor. We talked about the cartoon episode Arise, Serpentor Arise. Like his origin for me is like one of the best origins of any character in any fantasy period. Just, let's take the DNA of all these amazing and terrible leaders and combine them together into one super leader. And again, one of the things that you know Cobra obviously suffers from a little bit of incompetence at their leadership level, and having somebody show up who actually is competent, that's a game changer for that. And the reality is your heroes can't really be all that heroic if the villains are stupid all the time. So he really, to me, upped the game of Cobra. And by doing so, upped the game of G.I. Joe as well. Really raised the stakes for me in that. So number 4, Baroness. I mentioned that before. I mean,
It's Baroness.
wait,
Like, isn't
do I need
isn't
to let
like I'm pretty sure
little?
she's Ron Rudat's favorite, and he
Yeah,
he co-invented her. So
yeah. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. uh, She's a good villain. I mean, don't get me wrong, she's a good villain. And look, when I was introduced to GI Joe, I was a little boy with lots of raging hormones, and here's this, anyway, you get it. Like, I don't have to go any further than that. Like, it's just she's a great character, and also nice to look at. Number 5. We talked about how my GI Joe number 5, we had a Ace climbed into the number 5. Well, guess who climbed into number 5 for Cobra? Wild Weasel. For the same reason that Ace got into that episode with him and Ace dueling it out. Just super, super cool. Not really a character I had given a lot of consideration for. Cobra Rattler is one vehicle is one of the vehicles that I didn't have growing up. So I didn't really have a lot of exposure to Wild Weasel specifically. And I don't recall him. I'm gonna watch through the cartoon again, but I don't recall him featuring too heavily in the Sunbow cartoon either. He's there, I think, but he's not super heavily featured. So
Do you
seeing
have a
him in that
Rattler
comic,
now?
I do. I have the actual Cobra Rattler, and then I have the Tiger Rat, which is the Tiger Force Rattler, as
Nice.
well. So I have 2 of those models, one of them being the actual Cobra Rattler. So yes, I do. So Wild Weasel for me, number 5. And I realize that this list doesn't include, this is Cobra, and I consider Cobra distinct from Cobra Law. Otherwise, Nemesis Enforcer would 100% be on this list.
Yeah.
So just want to shout out to Nemesis Enforcer.
yeah,
How about you, Mike?
Well, my list is a lot like yours, except I didn't get the memo about Cobra Law. so at number 5, I have Pythona.
yeah.
Okay.
And like you said, that Arise Serpentor Arise, like, that was scary. And at the beginning of G.I. Joe the movie, man, she was competent, And then I've got Wild Weasel at number 4. Number 3, Destro. Because he always seemed like just the love-struck fool that had bad luck. He was just always the fall guy, always the scapegoat. It's always his fault because it was never Cobra Commanders, right? So he was always just the poor sympathetic, because he's going to take all the blame, and he just wants to do a good job so he can be left alone with Baroness. Number 2, I got Firefly, and then number 1, Baroness. I mean, come on now. Come on.
Well, a good list. I approve.
Are you sure you guys didn't get together and craft your lists together?
We didn't collaborate.
Well,
I mean,
we didn't because he left out Cobra Law.
yeah, I mean, it do be like that though. So, but
Yep.
All right, Tyler, we've come to your main event.
And
Let's talk. Do you want to introduce it?
Yeah, let's talk about my personal favorite part, what I think is the peak of G.I. Joe, and that's the vehicles. The vehicles for me, I'm a vehicle guy. That's my favorite part of G.I. Joe. I mentioned earlier, to me, the figures are great, but the figures exist so they can pilot the vehicles, which are even better. Obviously, near and dear to my heart, I love the vehicles. We could sit here all day and talk vehicles. I could literally talk vehicles for days and days and days. I'm not going to do that to you guys. The audience has other things they probably want to do. So let me run through my top 5 vehicles from G.I. Joe. Sky Striker's number 1. First vehicle I ever got. To this day, coolest Joe vehicle in my opinion that's ever been made. You go look at when the Sky Striker was released and the quality of toys that were being released at that time, and then look at the quality of toys we're getting now. We're still not getting toys that are the quality of the Sky Striker. Like Hasbro really went all out on that thing, and it holds up today. Let's put it that way.
They
And
knew
it's
what
even
they were
better than
doing.
most of the stuff we're getting today. I mean, it's phenomenal toy, great vehicle, great story. F-14 Tomcat. It's like one of the coolest aircraft ever made, period. Like, yeah, we don't even need to debate that. It's just done. Number 2 for me is Killer Whale. Love the Killer Whale. One of those, I think I've told the story on the podcast before about how I was this close to having a Killer Whale. And then I made a pivot because I'm an idiot. And I have to cut myself a little bit of slack because I was young and stupid. But I mean, look, obviously it's the memory stuck with me. It's a painful memory for me even today to think about that I didn't do that. I now have 2 killer whales, one complete, one that I used for parts. So I've remedied that problem, but it took me until I was in my 40s to remedy that. So missed out on some fun childhood adventures with that bad boy. But definitely number 2, super cool vehicle, featured heavily in the Sunbow cartoon. In many episodes, and it's a cool vehicle. Hovercrafts are cool. I mean, I don't care PR, they're cool.
Yeah.
Number 3 for me is the Snowcat. That was the second G.I. Joe vehicle I ever got. Played with it all the time. Super cool vehicle. Missiles, and a missile rack that moves around, and missiles that shoot on skis, which I don't care if it makes no sense. It's super cool. And I dare you to argue otherwise. Like, missiles on skis are super cool. Change my mind. I need that sign. I'll make that shirt and wear it to JoeCon. Snowcat, it's cool. Frostbite's a great figure, by the way, that comes with the Snowcat, and it's a cool vehicle. Number 4, Dragonfly. It's based off the Cobra attack helicopter. Wild Bill is one of the greatest GI Joes. Super cool pilot, super cool helicopter. Another one that ironically I didn't have growing up. As many of the vehicles as I did have, I didn't have a Dragonfly. So now I have one of every Dragonfly that they ever made, and I really want more. Like, I actually would like to have 3 or 4.
So did you decide if you're gonna grab the HasLab?
I got it.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, I that was one of those. I missed out on the Hasbro intentionally because at the time I wasn't doing classified. You guys got me on the Alley Viper classified like shortly after I think the classified Dragonfly went off of HasLab to be backed. So I missed that boat, but I knew enough from the classified vamp that I'm like, I'm not gonna. The price on this is just gonna keep going up, so I need to snag it on eBay while I can, and I did. So I bit the bullet, paid a little bit of a premium for it. It's already quite a bit more now than what I paid for it, 2 or 3 months ago when I snagged it. So, haven't opened it yet. It be one of the first things. It is going to be one of the first things I open in the new house, because that is going to be displayed in my office, 100%. So, I'm excited to open it, and we'll get it done when we get in the office. So,
And you're welcome for getting you on the classified series.
Yeah, look, I have
You're
very
both
mixed feelings
welcome,
about that,
and
guys.
we're sorry.
Yeah, exactly. The vamp to me really locked that in as like this was the right move. The classified vamp, guys, is so good. It is
Oh,
outstanding.
man.
The Stinger is excellent too. Don't get me wrong, but the classified vamp we'll talk about classified in a little bit. Sorry. Number 5. Some people might argue that this is not a vehicle. It is in fact a playset. It's an aircraft carrier. I'm calling it a vehicle. It is the USS Flag. 100% missed out on that when I was a kid, because that was kind of I want this, and then my parents were like, no, that's not happening. But I got it. Got one as an adult. We talked about that a little bit earlier. We picked it up from Dallas Vintage. Shout out Dallas Vintage. They threw a Sky Striker in for free, so I think I'm up to 5 or 6 Sky Strikers now. And my man Joe, Generation 2 Joe, hanging out over there, actually made the heroic run down to Dallas to score that for me and transport it back home. And don't have anywhere to put it. It's currently residing in my man Mike's guest room, I believe. It's a guest of honor in his
It
home
is.
as of now until I get moved and find a place for it. So that's
I mean, that thing is the holy grail of action figures and play sets. And
Yeah.
like, there's just no, like, everybody who grew up in that era, or like, in those years, they all have a story of either somebody they knew, or somebody they, like a kid down the street, or somebody in their school, like somebody in their periphery had it, and they
Yeah.
always remember it like that, like how close they were able to get to it. So yeah,
it,
the USS Flag. I feel like that's the only correct answer for this.
it's
Yeah.
it's interesting you mentioned that because I've had a similar experience where like you talk to people and they all knew somebody who had it. I don't think I've yet to find somebody as an adult and talk to them about the flag and find somebody who had it as a kid. Like
Mhm.
it was always that peripheral. It was always that mythical creature that you know exists, but you just can't quite lay your hands on it. So I'm super excited to have that, and it will feature in an episode, guys, coming up when I am able to get it properly displayed in all its glory. I'm gonna save my
Vehicles.
Cobra vehicles. I'm gonna save my Cobra vehicles, and let you guys rock and roll. But just know there's a top
Yeah.
5 of Cobra also. There's some great ones. So anyway, sorry,
Yeah.
I'll pass the mic.
Well, let's pass the mic to Mike. Hit us with your vehicles.
So the first one I'm going to talk about is the Tomahawk, and it was very near and dear to me growing up. Watching the GI Joe the movie as much as I did, I love that whirly bird, and I ended up working on the 46, which is essentially the 47, which is what the uh, Tomahawk was based off of. So, tandem rotor aircraft, and I spent a lot of time on that bird. Got to know it pretty well. So that just added to why it's my number one. Nothing else is even close. Just how it is. Next one is Sky Striker. I mean, what else can you say, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm going to throw a curveball in there because I just found out about it. And frankly, it still kind of ticks me off. I didn't know about it earlier, so I could have hunted for it. It's the Sky Raven, man. Like, that thing is so cool. Man, dadgummit. Like I'm looking for this thing, man. And yeah.
You know what's the worst part is how many toy stores did you go to, like toy sections, and you just walked right past it
Because
and had no idea.
when we went to Fan Fortress in Tulsa, like the box for that Sky Patrol stuff is so cool looking. And as a Minton box guy, man, that ticked me off even more because imagine that thing in that box at that size, like that's a conversation piece, is what that is. That's like the eyes are instantly going to go to it, and it's so cool looking. Now I'm going more traditional vamp. Um, I never really played with mini vehicles when I was a kid, but I like the vamp so much in the classified series, and I like the clutch figure that it kind of helped me pick a character as an NPC for our Joe campaign because I use clutch quite a bit. So having clutch go with the vamp and that classified series just knocking it out of the park on the figure and the vehicle. Made it number 4. And my last one is a Snowcat. I mean, the thing is just so iconic. You know, it's white, it's durable. Like that thing could, man, you could drop it from a 10-story building and it wouldn't just probably just chip, maybe. Like that thing had went through it. And that's a lot of the reason I like those toys is because, man, they weren't meant to be on a shelf. I know I'm a mints in box guy, but man, those toys were meant to be played with, and they were loved. So that's my 5. What about you, Joe?
All right. So my 5, I like Tomahawk. I purposely left Sky Striker off because I figured you guys would talk about the Sky Striker enough
Yeah.
for all 3 of us. So I'm going to go with Tomahawk, Vamp for all of the reasons. That class, like I had no idea what to expect from that classified Vamp, but it completely blew me away.
Yeah.
That thing's a beast. And it's so cool. And like you were saying, that clutch figure is such a great mold. I'm
Good.
actually gonna switch it up, and I'm gonna go as far as iconic goes, the Cobra Hiss tank. I mean,
Oh,
Tyler.
wow.
yeah, like remember, guys, like it's not just about the Joe vehicles, the Hiss tank. And I was having to like really kind of like scrape because I'm not a big I like the vehicles,
Wow.
but I
Talk
don't
about a curveball.
have to
Man.
have them. And
You talking about OG V1 Hiss tank?
yeah. Like there's only one. Like as far as I know, there's only like one mold of his tank.
It
dude,
looks like
there's
someone that struck
like
out swinging.
Mark 4, Mark 5. Like there's a bunch of different Hiss tanks now.
But still though, like that OG Hiss tank, it's like the one where I was like, that's one that like even whenever they were doing all of like the Tiger Force stuff of just like taking Cobra vehicles and slapping a new coat of paint and like selling it as Joe's, they never touched the Hiss tank because that would have been like the equivalent of, I mean, the Empire getting their own Millennium Falcon or something, or like the Rebellion getting their own Super Star Destroyer. Like that is just like there's some rivers you just can't cross, and giving the Joes a Hiss tank, I think, is one of them.
Well, I'll give you. I'm gonna give a shout out.
But it would be.
I'll tell you,
it'd be a fun story though.
Larry
Hama could do it, but
100%. He could. 100% he could. But I'm gonna give a shout out to the Hiss tank because the Hiss tank is one of those. G.I. Joe, if you start talking to people about G.I. Joe vehicles, one of the things they're going to come out with is a hallmark for G.I. Joe vehicles as well. It's got to have a crap load of guns and missiles and stuff all over it. And the reality is, if you go back and look at the core of what G.I. Joe vehicles were, that's not true. And some of the best ones don't. And the Hiss tank is an excellent example of a vehicle that wasn't overdone with crazy missiles and stuff everywhere. It just has a simple 2-laser turret on it. It does have the fatal flaw that comes with a lot of G.I. Joe vehicles where you have the operator of the main gun in the vehicle standing exposed,
I'm getting
shoulders up.
I'm getting
which
that
is
in
like,
a minute.
They were designed to be dumped off of stairs.
Yeah.
Is what they were designed to be.
Pretty much.
Incredibly durable toy. Yeah. But anyway, sorry, go ahead.
So, you're good. So yeah, Hiss tank, often imitated, never duplicated. It's the one thing. It's one of the few things that the live action movies actually got correct, because it shows up in G.I. Joe Retaliation, and it looks like a Hiss tank, and it drives like a Hiss tank, which is really cool. So my last two are the polar opposite spectrums of G.I. Joe vehicles for the exact reasons that you would suggest, like you just stated. Number 4, I'm going to go with the Havoc, because the thing is utterly ridiculous. If you look at it, it is a giant armored vehicle with just rockets loaded down with it. But the main driver, like cannon operator, is just a recliner on top of the tank
It's
and
sitting in
just
a lazy boy on
completely
top.
exposed. Yeah, it's a lazy boy on top of an armored, like mobile
Yeah.
rocket launcher. Like it's utterly ridiculous, but I love it. And cross country is fun. Like because he was the Havoc driver, and
Controversial, but fun. Agreed.
yeah. So from there, the utter ridiculousness that is the Havoc, all the way to the Cobra night landing boat, which is literally just like one of those inflatable little like motorboats. It's just very just simple. It's just meant for just infiltration and just scooting around on the water.
Like a
Probably,
Zodiac. It's like a Zodiac boat, right? Like an old
yeah,
Zodiac. Yeah.
yeah.
I don't
So
remember what it's called, but yeah, I was talking about.
it's just it's just a little tiny craft. It's like the antithesis of the whale. Whereas like the
Yeah,
whale is just
that's
very
true.
giant, huge, and just
Armed to the
beefy.
teeth, and yeah.
The Cobra night landing craft can just like slip in and slip out, and under cover of darkness. So it's very practical. It's a very
So,
practical vehicle.
what we need to do is have Mike go look up the Sky Havoc, and then he can have another Sky Patrol vehicle that's going to be like, oh man, that's pretty cool. Because if you like the Havoc, there is a Sky Havoc that is basically the Havoc but chrome, baby, because it's Sky Patrol.
It's got to be chrome.
Pretty funky. Pretty funky. But anyway, yeah.
Well, I think that's gonna about wrap us up this week. Real quick announcements: JoeCon, end of June. We're gonna start probably doing more announcements as far as details about that. We just fairly recently discovered that voice actor Greg Berger is going to be there. And for those of you who don't know, he is the voice actor from the Transformers and G.I. Joe cartoons. He was the voice of Spirit in G.I. Joe and the voice of Grimlock, among others, in the Transformers. So we have
Guy
one.
Fire also.
And yeah, Jetfire also. So we have one excited mint on card Mike over here. So
Yes.
that's going to be fun. Looking forward to that. Also, this Friday, May 2nd, from 6 to 8 at Choctaw Creek Park, we will be at the Nerd Night that the city of Choctaw in Oklahoma is hosting. This little mini Comic-Con inspired event is a must attend for fans of sci-fi, pop culture, gaming, comics, and more. It's designed for all ages, so bring the whole family for an evening packed with fun. Dress up in your favorite cosplay, browse booths showcasing unique merchandise, crafts, collectibles, artisan crafts from local creators, and participate in exciting games. Plus, savor delicious food and drinks from local vendors. So I'm really excited about that. We're gonna have a little table set up. I'm planning on bringing some choice items from my personal collection to just kind of have on display. So if you happen to be in the area or you want to make a little road trip, it's at the Choctaw Creek Park on May 2nd. So come hang out. We'd love to chat with you. You guys have anything?
I think you covered it.
All right. Well, for Mike and Tyler, I've been Joe, and you guys have helped us not only stop Cobra, but you've helped us figure it out. See you in the next one. Take care. Bye. Fun fact, real quick. Fun fact. I talked to my mom. Actually, reached out to me after she listened to that episode, and she wanted me to tell you that she laughed so hard during that story that was her favorite part of the entire show that we've done up to that point.
I'm so glad that I could bring some joy to to Mama
Oh,
Mike and Mama Joe.